All right, everybody, we're going to take a look at the actual amendment process to the Constitution here with this article. This is from the Khan Academy, and I'm going to have a link into this article provided for you for the activity that you're going to try to be figuring out. But what you want to be trying to grasp here is the two ways that an amendment can be proposed to the Constitution and two ways that the amendment goes through the ratification process. So a couple key points here you can see that they set up in the Khan Academy article right at the start is that an amendment is a permanent change or an addition to the Constitution. So the details for how that gets handled was put into the Constitution with Article 5. Why do we need a process like that? Well, the Founding Fathers realized that this Constitution, with its age of ratification back in 1789, which the date here is a little bit off, that would be 231 years today, and counting, is the oldest constitution in the modern world. But a lot of things have changed through the years. You know, they realized that we would not be the same 10, 15, 20, 50, 100 years down the road. So they provided opportunities for change. But the change is not easy to do. Since this Article 5 was put into the Constitution in 1789, there's only been a total of 27 permanent changes to the Constitution. So it's very difficult to do. All right, the first 10 amendments went in one shot in 1790. They're known as the Bill of Rights. So if you think about it, only 17 amendments have been added from 1790 through 2020. And two of those amendments canceled each other out. That was the prohibition of alcohol and the repeal of prohibition. So in reality, we only have like 15 permanent changes since 1790 to the Constitution. So you can read later the Article 5 wording. I'm not going to take time here with this introduction to go through that, but when you get to the actual method for trying to bring a new change to the Constitution, a new amendment, there's two ways you can go through it. The congressional proposal method you can see here, and the convention method. In the congressional proposal method, 2/3 of both chambers of Congress must propose an amendment. The proposed amendment must then be ratified by 3/4 of the state's conventions or state legislatures, as chosen by Congress. So Congress chooses the method, but the magic numbers there are 2/3 for proposal and 3/4 for ratification, or roughly 67% for proposal and 75% for ratification. So if you look at the chart here, the amendment process in Article 5 of the Constitution, step 1 for proposal, it either goes through the congressional method where 2/3 of both houses of Congress propose it, or there's 2/3 vote in a national convention that's been established by Congress. Now, Congress has to pick the method. Are they going with convention method, or are they going with the congressional method? So 2/3 out of either side here, you know, whether it's the convention or just doing it straight up in Congress, has to be the magic number. All right, so remember that. Now, proposal is generated at the national level. That comes out of Congress, and the magic number again is 2/3. Ratification is after the idea has been proposed, after the amendment is just suggested and formally out there for the states to then decide whether they want to adopt it or not. It gets kicked back to the states, where 3/4 of the vote has to be on board. So it goes to either 3/4 of the state legislatures, the governments back at our home state, like in Harrisburg, or there's 3/4 of a vote at special state conventions. So you got to get 3/4 of the states to adopt it at their state convention. So the magic number here for ratification is 75% or 3/4, and it takes place at the state level. Congress decides the mode for ratification, and interestingly, the convention proposal method has never been used. So if we go back up here to the top, this upper right corner for proposing hasn't happened. Okay, so it's most likely that you're always going to see it on this side, the left-hand side. The convention is kind of an outdated mode for pretty much anything politically. So Congress has proposed all 27 amendments to the Constitution. 26 of them were passed by 3/4 of the state legislatures, and one was passed by 3/4 of the state convention. So when we go down here, 26 of 27 went through this method, and 1 of 27 went through that method. And to be honest, I'd have to do some research to figure out which amendment it was that passed through that convention methodology. So it's very difficult. It talks about the Equal Rights Amendment, which was proposed first introduced in 1923, and Congress finally passed it in 1972 and sent it to the states for ratification to work towards equal rights for all citizens regardless of their gender. And it fell 3 states short of ratification, so it was never added to the Constitution. That took over half a century to reach a failure. And it talks about a few other processes here, but some food for thought. Besides the amendment process, how can the federal government change the Constitution? And now I'll talk a little bit about like judicial review. Why do you think the United States has never had an amendment passed through the convention method? Why would that be so difficult? So a couple different things to think about. But the biggest thing to look at here is this chart when you review it. And remember, the proposal happens at the federal level. 2/3 is the magic number. Ratification happens at the state level, either through legislatures or conventions, and 3/4 is the magic number there. And that's basically it.